Brezza, the city-bred SUV.
No team has ever beaten Chennai Super Kings 6 times in a row. Punjab Kings stand on the cusp of that, and if they were to do so, it becomes a Sunday of great significance in the IPL 2024 points table. A double-header day where we'll also see 2 meet 3 later in the evening when Lucknow host Kolkata. But first, it is Punjab versus Chennai in Dharamsala where we begin this Sunday on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by JBL, where we have the OG crew back in action. Tom, Moody, Mitch McClenaghan, Wasim Jaffer reunited. Tom, welcome back. Few days off. Missed us?
Of course. I've been watching. Don't worry, I've been keeping a very close eye on the progress.
Have you been fine?
I've been very fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Mitch, he's back.
Yeah, it's nice to have him back. He's the Rick to my Morty. He's the Tom to my Jerry. He's the Rose to my Jack. So if you got any of those analogies, I tried to get a few different generations in there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice to have him back.
Beautiful. And Wasim, you had 2 red-hot days before going, racking up the points in the impact zone. Ready to continue?
As soon as the business end come, you see the good players coming in form.
I just love you. You look so sharp today. So
Thanks,
sharp.
mate. Thank
I
you.
love it. It's good. It means business time because today's big day, isn't it? Double the points. Punjab's going to beat Chennai again.
Hopefully. Yeah, why not?
Yes, and it is a day of great significance, and a look at the points table will just show you why. RCB have kept themselves alive with that victory that saw them climb from 10 to 7. Now you have Punjab, who can join Chennai on 10 points, and it's a unique day where, of course, there's 2 versus 3 later, but this is a game where all other teams are rooting for Punjab, because that really throws the table open.
Yep, it's huge. Massive game. And usually we've seen when teams have been in this position like Delhi, they've capitulated in the last few games where they've had a chance. And, for all those fans out there supporting other teams and Punjab fans, I'll be hoping that they stand up today. I think they line up very nicely. They're in good form against the Chennai side, who are ravaged with injuries and players leaving for visa issues for the World Cup. So now's the time to strike.
It's also a first look this season at Dharamsala, a venue which everyone loves being at. With the exception of Punjab, they don't win much in Dharamsala.
Yeah, surprisingly not. They lost last year as well, couple of games. It's a good toss to win for Punjab. They are going to chase. It's a good chasing ground. It's a good wicket as well. The spinners generally doesn't get a lot of help here. And their spinners have bowled well in the last game. So that's going to be tricky because Chahar and Brar actually bowled beautifully in that game. So the pressure is on them. It's important for them because now they've come into that race where they are in for a shout. Yeah. How they react to that, it's going to be very interesting. And Chennai obviously have their own problems with injuries and all that. They have lost the toss again. So that's not going to be easy for them.
Yes, and as Wasim points out, Punjab winning the toss and Chennai losing it continues a wretched run for Ruturaj Gaikwad and the Super Kings. That now means they've lost 10 out of 11 tosses this season. Almost unthinkable numbers. That's got to be rotten luck.
I thought he said he'd been practicing his tosses.
Yeah, he has come out and said in an interview that he spent some time with Dhoni practicing tosses. I wonder how much use that comes
through. Very well.
In the last few games, they've also lost 3 of the last 4. And in some games, you could consider the LSG game at Chepauk in particular. It has proved to be a point of difference as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make any difference today, given it's a day game and Dew's not going to come into play. There may be a slight advantage bowling first purely on the point that Wasim said in that it's a difficult ground to defend, particularly if it's a good batting surface and it's a high percentage boundary scoring day, and we'll see how the surface plays. But if it's that type of scenario, it's very hard to shut someone down when they're up and running. But Chennai Super Kings definitely lost momentum, and on the other hand, Punjab have got momentum. And we talk about momentum, and it's probably over-talked in sport, but this is a really good example of it, of a side that's lost momentum, where they've lost a couple of games, through just poor performances, but also they started to lose a couple of players through various issues, illness and injuries and what have you. It's very hard to recapture that sort of feeling that, that you can, break down anything that's in front of you as a playing group. But on the other hand, Punjab nearly feel like, we're unbeatable at the moment. All the pieces are starting to fall into place for us. A few key players are coming back into form, which we didn't have in the first part of the tournament. We're peaking at the right time. That'll be what they'll be saying.
Yeah. And when you look at Chennai's recent run, these 3 losses in the last 4, 2 of them were when they had that back-to-back against Lucknow, where they played them in back-to-back games, and now they're facing a similar situation against Punjab. We'll quickly take you through that reverse fixture, which happened on Wednesday in Chepauk, where Punjab had pretty much the perfect day out.
Yeah. I think the bowlers bowled really well. Like I said, the spinners did the damage. Rahul Chahar, 4 for 16, 2 wickets there. Brar bowled beautifully. And I was surprised with the tactics that Chennai, employed that day. Not sending Mitchell at if not number 3, because Shivam Dube came in at number 3. I understand that. That was a good call. But I think Daryl Mitchell should have been coming there at number 4, because he plays spin really well. He can play reverse sweep. So it doesn't matter, you need to send a left-hander there because he's such a skillful player. And that was important for him to come there. Him to come at number 8, I think he came in at number 8, batted just 1 ball.
Yeah.
So I was very surprised with the tactics they used. Samir Rizvi, to an inexperienced guy, to come in there and getting run a ball 20 or something. So the way Chennai played that day was very unlike Chennai.
Mitchell could have batted a few more had he got spread.
Oh, look, definitely. But that's a really good example of the fact that even Chennai, and they're probably the last team in the IPL that make unusual selection changes or strategic changes, of the potential panic that's in the camp, that they know they're not playing well and they're trying to find something where, instead of going back to right at the beginning of what their philosophy is and what they stand for, and that is that consistency of people understanding what their role is and sticking with an 11 and backing an 11. Obviously, you're going to have a couple of forced changes through injury and illness.
And that reflects itself, Tom, in this next graphic we're going to see, because Chennai's middle order muddle is best represented through the usage of the batters. You look through that table, this is the innings batted by position for each of their middle order batters this season. Barring Shivam Dube at number 4 and 5, there is no one who's got any consistent run anywhere, Mitch.
Am I right in saying that Rizvi's opening batsman?
No, he bats number 4.
That's number 4. Okay, I was just trying to figure out where he fits into that lineup, and if you're looking at someone maybe being an impact player, do you go Daryl Mitchell to open and Rizvi slot into that number 4 spot? And then if you get into a position where you need an impact player, you start looking at the experience of, say, a Rahane, who's been a little bit out of touch, but we saw the other night KKR used the impact player with Manish Pandey very, very well. And it was worked well because it was an experienced player, came in and been in multiple situations, tough situations before, and then was able to get through that and then accelerate. So at the moment they're using Rizvi as that impact player, but without the experience, and you're kind of just hoping that he knows how to navigate himself out of those situations. So maybe a tactic like that might have to change in the future if they consistently are struggling with their batting order and have to use the impact player.
Using Jadeja as frequently at number 4, despite a lower strike rate, is that something you have to reconsider?
In my opinion, Dube and Mitchell has to bat 3 and 4. You can reverse the order as you wish. If they lose a wicket, Daryl Mitchell has to come in. If they get through to the power play, then you can probably send Shivam Dube after the power play, but no, not before those 2 guys.
The one I think trick they've missed also is the usage of Moeen Ali as the batter. And when you're sort of hitting those choppy waters as a team, you rely on experience, and Moeen Ali's got more experience than most out there in the IPL, and he's primarily a batter that bowls, and that's what he's had his career as. His bowling has evolved and become a really strong suit in what he presents as an all-rounder, but I think they've missed a trick in his usage And he should be batting in front of Jadeja.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because he's a natural boundary hitter.
He just looked left out, isn't it? I mean, in that camp.
It must be something that we're obviously not seeing. It might be something around, how he's hitting the ball in the nets. And as a batting coach, there's times that, people look at absolute C, with bat and hand. But sometimes all it takes is one, middle drive through the covers for 4 and you're away. Suddenly all those woes are gone.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, let's see how Chennai Super Kings are lining up. Can confirm that there is one change. Mustafizur Rahman, the replacement for him is Mitchell Santner, who finally gets a game. We've spoken about how unfortunate he is, someone who might be a starter for a lot of other teams. But Mitch, a game for Santner at last.
Yeah, it's an interesting opponent to play him against, I guess, with the amount of left-handers that Punjab have got in that middle order. So it's going to be a challenge of when they use him and Jadeja. It gives you the inclination that the wicket might be a little bit slower as well. He's a world-class bowler. That's probably where I should start off with that. Whatever the conditions are, being in New Zealand where the ball doesn't turn a lot, he's got a lot of different skills, so he can be defensive when he needs to be. So I think he's high quality. You will also shore up their batting as well. Yeah. He gives you that extra option to come in, and he's a guy who, just like Mo, you might feel a little bit more inclined to put Mo and Ali up the order to take on Harpreet Brar or Rahul Chahar, because you've got Mitchell Santner at the bottom of the order who can do what they've tried to save Mo and Ali for, or vice versa. They could put Mitch up the order. So I think it gives them a little bit more strength if their batting is what they've been concerned about.
Yeah, just going to go back to that lineup because there's also a return for Tushar Deshpande, who missed the last game with an illness. Richard Gleeson retains his spot. Pathirana still not back, and Mustafizur Rahman, of course, has left for the time being. You agree with the bowling mix they're going with?
Yeah, I think so. Generally, in Dharamsala, the pace bowlers have a greater impact than spin. It's a hard place to bowl spin because the ground's not, the biggest ground. You're, high altitude-wise, so the ball carries a bit further too. So you don't really want to stack your lineup with too much spin because of that. And I'd be surprised if the pitch is nothing but a good surface, purely given this is the first game there. But I think that Chennai were left with no other real quality choice. And Santner, as you quite rightly say, is a very fine bowler.
Yeah, I'd imagine potentially to get his overs in, if it is going to be a good surface, he might end up opening the bowling.
100%. I was going to say that.
He might take that first
He'll
over.
take the new ball.
Yeah, because they don't have. Because who will come in as a bowler? Maybe Mukesh.
Mukesh, yeah, that's the interesting one. Whether they go back to Mukesh, there's Simarjeet guy who's a little, like a Malinga type, not that way, but still he bowls that slingy action. There's the leg spinner as well, so I don't know. Yeah, Prashant Solanki.
Yeah, and let's take a look at how Punjab are lining up. Would expect no changes, and that is they do retain the combination that has won them the last couple of games, which means Rahul Chahar and Harpreet Brar get to continue. This is Punjab's bowling first lineup, so you can imagine perhaps Simran Singh is the likely one coming up. Unexpected lines?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's, and right at the beginning of the tournament, they looked a good side. They just didn't hit their straps, and, quite typically for Punjab, they have been historically inconsistent as a side, even though on paper they look strong, but they seem to struggle to, get it together. But, maybe this year's the year that, they're peaking at the right time and they're going to come home with a wet sail.
Yeah. Now, when we assess both those playing 11s, that's a lot of spinners playing. And if we just go back to how pace and spin stack up in Dharamsala in recent years, it's a small sample. This venue's only seen 4 games since the start of 2022. But do these selections hint at something being different in the surfaces?
Well, I think Punjab didn't want to change their side, right? They've been rolling nicely. The other options in their side outside are probably not there to change the bowling makeup. But Chennai, again, I think Chennai is making that decision in terms of they don't have any other options with Pathirana out. They don't have any, Mukesh Chowdhury bowled his 1 over for 27. Was it 27, the game which he did play? So they won't have a lot of confidence to go to him instead of Mitchell Santner. So I think it's kind of just what horses they still have in their stable to put out. So probably wouldn't read too much into whether the wicket's going to be conducive for spin or not.
Now going to the Punjab spinners, Harpreet Brar and Rahul Chahar, both a bit of a story in themselves. Brar is among the most economical bowlers this season. I think only Bumrah, Narayan and Krunal Pandya have a lower economy than his 7.2. One of those quiet performers. He's just managed to keep the scoring down, and a lot of times, even when bowling to left-handers against the conventional matchup knowledge.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. Even last season, he bowled really well. And if you look at his wickets, he's got some really big names as his scalps. A.B. de Villiers, Maxwell, Kohli, to name a few. And he goes under the radar. Somebody who comes in and does his job. Doesn't get that his performances get highlighted, and this season also he's done it really well. Handy batter, lower or down the order as well, and I think I remember he bowled really well in this game last season, where Shikhar unfortunately bowled him the 20th over. Up until the 3 overs, I think he had only given 15 or 16, and he was taken down by Riley Rousseau, who was playing for Delhi. But he's a very good bowler. It doesn't matter whether he's bowling to left-hander also, because I think he knows how to do that. And Rahul Chahar's form has come really good. I thought the way he bowled in the last game was very pleasing to watch, because his lengths were consistent, and the way the ball was coming out looks the Rahul Chahar of old. So
that's the most important part of that, is that their lengths last game were impeccable. They were outstanding. They didn't miss. They didn't get too full. They didn't get too short. And sometimes it's a little bit easier to do that in turning conditions, because you feel like you've got less pressure on you. The margin for error, if it's a good wicket today, is going to be significantly smaller. And it's how they cope with knowing that they're bowling on a good wicket, if there's no turn around, knowing it's a pacer-friendly ground as well, and how they can respond to that. Can they do the same thing they did the other night? Because that's going to be imperative.
That's where Rahul Chahar has the confidence, not just from the last game against Chennai, but if you look at the 2 games he's played, he sat out 4 or 5 games. The first game back was 1 for 33, while KKR made 261.
Yeah, look, he's an important, cog to their wheel, and he's a very good bowler. You think back to the time that he was bowling at Mumbai. He was a very important part of their balance of their side, but for some reason over the last few years in Punjab colours, he hasn't quite delivered the same sort of consistency of success. And whether that's, how he's been managed, how he's been deployed at various times, who's to know? But he's certainly got some quality about him, and it's good to see him back in form.
Yeah, and Chahar and Brar winning the battle against Chennai's middle order was so key to Punjab's win at Chepauk earlier this week. Brar was the one who got Dubey, which made such a difference, because Dubey really has been the engine room of this Chennai batting order. You look at Chennai's numbers through overs 7 to 20, that's after the power play, and Dubey has scored nearly 30% of their runs. His strike rate is nearly 20% better than all others, and he's hit a 6 twice faster than the rest of the batters. Is there a correlation here to the fact that he's also the only middle order batter with that defined position and entry point?
I think he's the most important player this season for them. When Chennai have done well, he scored runs, and he scored them quickly. When he gets out, they don't cross 180 plus or even 200. So you can imagine the difference that he makes when he gets runs. He, and then in the last 5 or 6 games, Ruturaj has started to get runs. I think Daryl Mitchell will be that guy if he's trusted with the number at number 3 or 4. But you haven't got runs from Rahane, you haven't got impactful runs from Ravindra Jadeja as well. So it makes a lot of difference when you've got 2-3 guys who haven't got the same kind of runs. So in that sense, I think Shivam Dube has been massive for CSK's success and where they stand in the table now.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, and I think what it does, looking at those numbers, it highlights the weakness in this CSK lineup, and that is their batting middle order. And when you're putting all your hope on one player, that is a concern. Obviously at the auction, Rizvi was highly sought after by Chennai and other franchises, and got paid a healthy amount. And that was clearly because they could see that they had a problem, and they were hoping he was going to fill that gap and that problem, and that gap's still, wide open.
He's also hopefully got past the selection jinx with Indian World Cup bound players failing in the first outing, but then getting back to the runs. But if you look at this Chennai lineup today, Mitch, with Dubey, Jadeja, Moeen, Santner as well, that's a lot of left-handers. How would you place them?
I think I think they can be more aggressive in that middle phase. I think today they should make it very difficult for Harpi Bra to bowl his 4 overs, which is going to cause some challenges, for Punjab Kings. They really should be going after those spinners today in that middle phase. There's no excuses now. They've got the extra batting of Mitchell Santner, who's a very good striker of the ball. He's batted 3. He's actually opened for New Zealand, so he's a genuine batsman now as well at the international T20 level. So, they've really bolstered that lineup. So there's no excuses for them to try to muck around in that middle phase. So it's going to be a massive challenge for the Punjab Kings.
I think how Sam Curran also has led this side after Shikhar's injury also has to be credited because I thought he's employed his bowlers really well. They've lost a few games because of the batting, but after that 261 chase, their batting has improved massively. So, a lot of credit goes to how Sam Curran has captained this side as well.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. He has been. You've worked with him.
Yeah.
He's switched on. All his changes have been at the right time, as Wasim said. But his angles in the field have been exceptional. If you get the camera on him today, you'll just see him marshalling small little angles. He's aware. He's in the game. He's a competitor. You can just see that the team's really rallying around him and getting him behind him. He doesn't drift away from what's going on in the game. So that's a positive.
There was the amount of bravery involved in saving that Rahul Chahar over as well in the last game for Dhoni, and that worked well.
Yeah, and that's the decisions that captains have to go with on gut feel, and there was more in favour for that decision against, given that the surface was supporting both the spinners. So there's some clear thinking in that probably this is as good as anything, and given that he'd bowl well to that point, why not give him the conditions and back your bowler? And that's an example of maybe what hasn't happened with Chahar historically at Punjab. Maybe he hasn't been backed in those types of moments, often enough, so he feels that I'm an important part of this bowling attack instead of an afterthought.
Where is Sam Curran in the overall conversation now for Punjab? I mean, obviously you've got this season to look at, but you're at the cusp of a new retention cycle. You know that the original captain for this season, Shikhar Dhawan, is probably not a contender for a new 3-year cycle. So is Sam Curran someone who is a contender?
Well, if they look at him as a potential leader, it all depends on how the next 4 game goes. If he gets them into the playoffs, I think he'll be in the race for sure, because they definitely don't have anybody to captain them at the moment. Jitesh Sharma is potential guy, but he hasn't led any franchise cricket. Sam has done that. So I think if he successfully leads them into the playoffs, I think he'll be one of those names for sure.
There are teams who have captains pigeonholed, especially looking at the next 3-year cycle. Punjab generally haven't looked like that kind of a team in the last 7-8 years. Where do you see them standing at the moment?
With regards to Sam?
Yes.
It's going to be a difficult decision because he's shown a lot as a leader. He's also contributed both with bat and ball, not to a point where it's been huge game-changing efforts, but there's been good contributions, and he's sort of been the glue of that side. But I think the thing that screams out to me is the importance of captaincy in T20 cricket. And if you've got a good captain that understands the game and can move in a positive direction proactively and not be a reactive captain, be able to sort of hold the dressing room when you've got young Indian domestic players, senior Indian players that have got many test caps and white ball caps, and also an array of overseas players. I think it just stands out. That's a real critical ingredient to a successful team. Dhoni's obviously the genius at it. Just this year, if you're looking at new captains, Pat Cummins, look at the difference he's made to that dressing room and how that's functioning. And we're seeing it with Sam Curran as well. Clearly he's got the attention of that dressing room are razor focused on him as the leader.
Yeah, we've spoken about Curran's bowling moves. One of the moves he's also made in the batting lineup, which with Punjab winning the last 2 games, is demoting himself. It has meant Prabsimran Bairstow in the runs, and Riley Russo is someone who stands out. He's back in the runs. He likes this this venue. He was playing for Delhi at Punjab last year when he made 82 of 37, and he's doing enough to keep Livingston out of the lineup.
Well, you saw that firsthand, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Happy memory.
yeah, it's. I mean, after the start he had, where he was obviously got that second baller, and then, you know, you're always under pressure as an overseas player coming in because you can only play the 4. So you're always looking over your shoulders of what changes are going to happen, and generally it is an overseas player who gets changed. So to be able to perform under pressure, particularly I think that performance in Chennai, you know, in difficult conditions, to be able to steer his side to a victory, I think that will give him massive confidence. And that boosted morale coming up to Dharamsala as well, where he scored runs last year. Just seen a picture of the wicket. The wicket looks good, so it looks like it's going to be a nice surface for batting. So I just expect him to keep going along his merry way with the form that he's been in the last couple of games.
And he's going to be very important part of that batting lineup because they've got 2 left-handers, left-arm spinner.
Yeah.
If he has a significant score, that puts Punjab favourites to win this game.
Right. So we've discussed a lot of the players. Now it's time to see which of the players rank highest for our experts, because it's time for us to head into the impact zone. Before the picks, a notable movement, Tom, in the last few days, with Wasim Jaffer bringing up a lot of outrageous predictions and an impact pick in his last 2 appearances, which has seen a shift in the table. That's significant too.
Yeah, it might be significant for Wasim, but yeah, no, I'm happy for you, Wasim. It's great. We'll see how we stand at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The battle lines are drawn. We saw the bottom of the IPL points table shift, but after a long time, but we finally seen a change at the top of our leaderboard. So
I thought you were going to spray me.
Oh, no.
I was staring you
What do
down. I thought you were just saying, "Yeah, Mitch is still at the bottom." Well, I can see that.
No,
I'm making my way back up.
I'm not even bringing it up. Yeah,
comeback.
you've got your
It's
outrageous.
one of the great stories, this,
Yeah.
Yeah,
by the time we get to the finals.
Yeah.
could be an RCB tale.
Yeah.
Who knows? So let's get into the impact picks for this game. Wasim was the winner. I'll give Tom the first strike for the batters.
Wow, really? Gosh, that's a... Okay, we've got Punjab bowling. I will go with batter first, is that right?
Yeah.
I will go with Riley Russo.
Riley Russo, Mitch,
I'm going to go with Gaikwad.
Gaikwad, Wasim,
I'm going to go Dubey.
Shivam Dubey. Let's get into bowlers with Mitch.
I am going to go with Mitchell Satner.
Wasim, bowler.
Bowler,
Yeah.
Sam Curran.
Sam Curran. Tom, your
I'll
bowler.
go with Rabada.
Rabada, and into wildcards with Wasim.
I'm going to go Daryl Mitchell.
Daryl Mitchell as the wildcard. Tom,
I'll go with Johnny Bairstow.
Johnny Bairstow, and to you, Mitch.
Well, I go last twice, do I? Okay.
Did you? You went second with the batter, first with the bowler. Don't question the rules.
Okay, I'm going to go...
He's not happy if he's not whinging.
I'm going to go... I'm going to go Shashank.
Shashank, all right. That is a wildcard.
Really?
Mind you, yeah, they have figured out the last game, which the Fazur bowled well to him. Slow balls across, eh? Don't give them pace.
All right, let's get into a score and an outrageous pick, starting with you, Tom.
Score is going to be 201, and my outrageous pick is going to be
They have to be positive.
Rabada is going to take 3 or more wickets.
Okay.
We'll take that. Rabada 3+. Mitch?
I'm going to say 230. It's going to be the score. and Dubé's going to hit 5 sixes.
Yeah, we'll take that. Wasim?
2-2-2.
2-2-2. In
And
the middle.
Gaikwad to get out before 12.
Gaikwad,
We've been
balls
doing
or runs?
positive ones.
Eh?
We've got to do
Balls or
positive
runs?
ones.
It doesn't matter.
So we've got to be positive because this is getting too negative now.
Yeah, the positive
He's
negative
the
is
man in form.
But
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you
No,
just,
yeah.
that's worry about your own
Let the
backyard.
chairman decide, yeah.
yeah, no, that's okay.
We're
but
points
just-
farming here.
Just specify runs or balls.
Runs, 12 runs.
Gaikwad less than 12 runs.
Yeah.
Okay.
2-2-2.
See, there is a minute. We are supposed to pick ours as well, so I'll just jump in, Tom. Punjab bowling, so I will go. Who have you left anyway? Let's go.
You've got Prab, Jitesh.
Let's go Prab Simran, Moeen Ali, and Arshdeep Singh.
Nice.
They're all available? Yes, they are. So I'll go there, hopefully to finish 3rd out of 4. Let's see. All right, that does it. Thank you, Tom, Mitch, Wasim. You've started off this Sunday doubleheader where there is KKR, LSG later in the evening. We'll build up to that, but that's later. Be sure to join us at halftime once the Chennai batting effort is done on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout, powered by JBL. Download the ESPN Cricket Info mobile app. It'll have you covered with everything going around in the IPL and the rest of the world of cricket. Join us in 20 overs.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.